Alright, so today I just want to talk about the new Microsoft retail stores, and I've got some views or some opinions, and I just want to share with you guys, and hopefully by debating it you could post your comments on the whole idea of the Microsoft retail stores, which are of course opening in the United States. So this video is pretty much going to be in 5 segments, if that's what you want to call it. The first segment is going to be whether it's a right move or not for Microsoft to move into the retail arena. The second one is, you've probably all heard of it, is staff poaching, where Microsoft have basically gone after Apple's retail staff and told them or offered them money to come over. Just going to talk about that a wee bit. The third thing is hype, how Apple creates hype, and I don't want to go into too much into it because when we come to it then I'll talk about it. And the fourth thing is availability. Again, I'll keep that to the section when we come to it. And the last section is the Guru Bar, which is obviously Microsoft's equivalent to the Genius Bar. Getting straight into it, is it a right move for Microsoft to move into the retail arena or not? Personally, I don't think that's the right idea, simply because there's about 1 billion computer manufacturers out there today, and Apple is successful partly or mainly because they control their hardware and their software. Hence, they're able to stock all their products into one tiny thing, or not tiny, but they're able to cram all of that into one store. For Microsoft to, the purpose, why is Microsoft opening these stores? What is the vision? Because if they're going for hardware, there's so much hardware. Example: HP, Dell, Gateway, Dog, every cat and dog basically. So what is Microsoft going to stock in their stores, and what's the purpose of that? Is it going to be more of Windows 7 related? Then again, I think, why is it going to be Windows 7 related? Because surely they don't need a retail section for it. So I personally think for Microsoft to go into this whole retail section isn't for them, and I think they're going to embarrass themselves even further by doing so. What do you guys think? If you agree with me or if you disagree with me, post a comment, and by going into the next sections or the next segments, hopefully I can develop on this idea in particular. The second thing is staff poaching, again, where Microsoft have gone specifically after Apple retail staff, and I don't see anything wrong with it. It happens in business, it happens in every single industry, and I've got some really good examples. Some well-known hotels that I know where, just to give you an example, where one hotel, they've got a chef, a really good chef, and other hotels, other competitors are after that particular chef because he's really good. He can make good food, hence a lot of people come to that hotel. But we don't hear about it because it's not much, the whole hotel industry isn't really techy as the whole Apple, Microsoft and the general gadgets industry is. So that's why we don't really hear about it, but it happens everywhere. Another example is the call centers. If you're applying for a call center job, if you've got previous experience of a call center job, you're more likely to get that job than someone who hasn't got previous experience. So again, I think it's just total business sense. What you've got to realise is it's all about the money. I mean, if you were a millionaire or a billionaire and you've got a big company, you would rather have straight away staff who are fully trained, who know what they're talking about, rather than a few weeks or a few months to train them up, and then the whole sales and marketing thing. If they already know how it works, it's a huge advantage. And I think Microsoft, obviously they know that. In order for them to even think about beating Apple and their success for retail, they're going to have to, from day one, get in there, and pretty much it's going to be a battle. But again, I can see, I'm totally with them. I'm totally with Microsoft. They're getting Apple, and it's interesting because Apple, one of their stores, they actually closed it down for refurbishment, and that store in particular is going to be beside the Microsoft store. So there's a lot of rumors that they're going to Apple are going to the next step now. They want to make really, the competition is really tensing up because Apple know this Microsoft store is going to be next to them. So they've closed it down, and they're going to refurbish it, and don't know what they're going to do to it, but a lot of speculation. I'll try and put that particular link in the description on your right hand side, so pretty much know what I'm talking about. So it'd be interesting to see what Apple do next. And I think it's kind of good that Microsoft have come into this, because it gives us the consumers more options, and well, what am I talking about? What it's going to do is going to make Apple work more harder, basically, so they're not always just lying back. Now that Microsoft's in the game, Apple are always going to try and beat Microsoft, or beat the competition. So I think by Microsoft coming into it is sort of an advantage to Apple in general, the consumers in general. Hype. Now, again, coming back to the whole issue of controlling, because Apple own the iPods, or own the hardware and software and everything they do pretty much, they're able to create that sort of hype. Simple example is, or even like the retail example, when a new store opens, I've got an example here on screen. Where is it? Yep, here we go. Now this is a store opening just 2 days ago, in fact, in Norwich in England, and the whole idea is fun, and pretty much just fun, and they're just trying to show I suppose, their culture. The staff are friendly, nice, funny, etc., etc., and obviously that goes in with their brand. iPod, it's fun. App Store, it's all the fun, leisure, and relaxed. Whereas when it comes to Microsoft, how are they going to create that hype? I can't see that working out for them, simply because the Zune, to an extent, that's their new product, or their new device that they've just launched. Again, that's not launched worldwide, so that's another problem. It's just going to be the locals, or the people in the States. How they're going to do that, I'm not too sure. How they're going to create that hype, how they are going to get people. Let's see what it is, this link here. Can you imagine Microsoft retail staff doing this? And if you look around, there's thousands of people. There's about thousands of people, or hundreds of people, the whole shopping centres thing, and I can't see personally. I can't see people queuing up for a Microsoft store. I really can't. And I think that's partly because if you're looking for a Windows machine, you're generally going to look at general retailers. For example, in the UK, you probably look at Dixon's, Curry's, PC World. You're never going to think of a Microsoft store. And because Apple, again, have their own retail store, they're able to control everything, and they're at a huge advantage. And I don't think the Microsoft store is really for Microsoft. I don't know why. I don't think it is. Even their game consoles are all sold by third parties like Game and other Amazon, that kind of. Again, Apple do it, and Amazon as well, to an extent. But I can't see why. I'm still emphasising the point that retailing for Microsoft, it's not an option. Availability is the next thing. The Zune was launched. The Zune HD was launched a few days ago. Again, it was just launched in the United States. And if you notice, in comparison, when Apple launched something, it's worldwide, no matter what, same date. Pretty much Europe, America, France, the whole schmack, pretty much. It's not just restricted to one area. And again, that's a huge bonus, because everyone knows when it's launched in the States, it's launched everywhere. Whereas Microsoft, being a bigger company, yet they can't do a worldwide launch. It's the United States, and a few months later, no one really bothers, because Apple are already in the game. Apple win again. So availability is a huge factor. And the last thing is the Guru Bar, which I'm seriously concerned about. What I mentioned earlier was, because there's so many companies, Dell, HP, Compaq, Gateway, Acer, Asus, and about 50 other companies, how are Microsoft going to deal with repairs? You still go into an Apple store if I still go into my Glasgow Apple store. It is quite busy. Now imagine Microsoft with 90% of the market share, yeah? You can have loads of people there. I mean, Leopard is good, it's very easy, whereas Vista or Windows is generally slightly harder, and I might be a bit harsh or generalising here, but the fact is Microsoft still own the majority of the market share. So imagine the rush at these Genius bars. Plus, are they going to have trained Dell, Acer, Asus, the 50 companies are the Genius or the Guru bars going to be trained for every single machine? Is Apple or is the Microsoft retail store going to take your Dell laptop and say, come back in 15 days or 10 days and we'll repair it for you? What's going to happen? I think it's not going to work out, and I hope they've got a good plan up their sleeves, because I can't see it personally happening. You're still going to the Apple store, it's busy, and they're able to do it because everything's controlled. The Genius bars are trained to work on a specific OS and a specific machine, and because they make the hardware themselves, they know what's wrong with it or what's not wrong with it. Whereas with Dell, there's so many different companies, and you can change stuff inside, you can change the motherboards and so on. It's going to be hard, and it'd be interesting to see what they've got lined up. But from that point, I just can't see it working out, and I hope it doesn't work out. But I think in a way it's good. I'm totally up for Microsoft getting these retail stores out, because I think it'll make the competition for Apple. Apple's going to continually, they're not going to be laid back. They're going to work for it pretty much and make it better, I suppose. Not that it's bad at the moment. I think it's pretty good at the moment. But I think, they ought to be looking to the future. I think it's been quite a while since there's been a redesign or a major redesign, and it'll get, the retail business unit of Apple thinking, innovating, bringing new features, or maybe some coffee machines, free coffee in store, I don't know. But it's going to be a huge battle between Apple and Microsoft. Who wins? Yet to, Apple are still obviously in the head, and it's probably going to take Microsoft, if it works out for them, probably take them a few months or a few years to get up to Apple. I think maybe a year to get up to scratch with Apple. But again, it depends what Apple have got lined up. And again, I think the Microsoft stores, or in fact I do know the Microsoft stores are only planned for the United States at the moment. Again, the whole availability issue. So see what happens, and I think this video's just gone a bit too long. Do post a comment, what do you think, what your ideas, whoops, and yeah, feel free to PM me, comment, and join me on twitter.com/IU6/Sweden. Thanks.